Okay, so today we are working on describing shape. So find the sheet that looks like this, talking about describing shape. So when we're describing shape, what we're talking about is bars, graphs, dot plots, and histograms. Write this down, please. So this is all still part of statistics. So you can look at a graph and you can tell if it's skewed to the left, if it's skewed to the right, or if it is symmetrical. Okay? So the first thing, skewed to the left. Let's look at it. It says usually the mean is less than the median, and the median is less than the mode. So the shape of data when graphed has a tail to the left. Okay? So let's look and see what that looks like. Find your sheet that looks like this, and you're going to find this graph right here. Okay? Draw a line going around the data. So even though they don't have any numbers on here, you can tell that this is actually skewed to the left. This is a histogram, which are wide bar graphs. Okay, because when you have a tail going to the left, which means like it looks like a straight line going after you draw around the shape, then that means it's skewed to the left. It generally means you're going to have an outlier to the left side. See how it's far away from the data set. The space would be called the gap. And the place where most of the data is, that would be a cluster. Okay? So let's see what else would be skewed left. All right, look at this dot plot. This would be skewed left. Okay, find this dot plot. It says the dot plot is skewed left because the data has a long tail to the left. Okay, scratch that right out. It was a misprint, and write left. So draw around the shape, write cluster. Go this way, show where it's a gap. Please write gap. And then if you see over here, this is the outliers. You have two outliers on this one. And this is showing skewed to the left. Okay? So while we're on this, let's just keep looking at them. The one above it is going to be skewed to the right. Again, draw the shape around it. This is your tail, which means it's just a long, flat line. Here's your cluster where most of your data sits. And here's your outliers because it's far away from the data. So this dot plot is skewed to the right. Notice the difference between this one and this one that's skewed left. All right, a dot plot that is symmetrical looks about like this when you make your measure of shape. It doesn't have to be exactly the same on both sides, but just mostly the same. So like if this was missing one right here and this had it, that's okay. This would still be considered symmetrical. Okay? All right, let's just go ahead and back to the histograms. This second one, this histogram is symmetrical because you see it's going, like you can split it in half. You see what I mean? Like this one's taller than this one, and then this one's shorter than this one. So they're not exactly the same, but they're mostly symmetrical. Here's a histogram that is skewed to the right, where you have a cluster, a gap, and then outliers. Go to the next page. Here's what your box plots look like when they're skewed. Again, we're looking for the tail. Wherever the tail is, that's the side that it's skewed on. So all of you, if you notice, this is your cluster on your box plot. Remember, this is your minimum. This is your LQR. This is your median. This is your HQR. But look where your maximum is, way over here on the other side. So your maximum is actually the outlier. And this is skewed to the right. Okay? Your box plot on this one is symmetrical because you can see like mostly on both sides on your whiskers, they're about the same. So that would be symmetrical. They're all pretty even. Okay, and if you notice this one, it's going to be skewed to the left. Again, here's your cluster. So your maximum, your median, your maximum, your HQR, your median, your LQR. And then you have a tail where your gap is. And then your outlier, which is your minimum, all the way to the left, which makes it skewed left. Okay? So when you're looking at measure of shape, make sure you know the difference between skewed right and skewed left. Go back to the sheet. It says when it's skewed right, usually the mean is greater than the median, and the median is greater than the mode. The shape of data, when graphed, has a tail to the right. Symmetrical. Symmetrical, usually the mean, the median, and the mode are approximately the same. The shape of data, when graphed, resembles a bell curve. Okay? Okay. So whenever they're asking you what the shape of data is, the key here is to draw it and find your tail. Whichever way the tail is, that's the way it's skewed. Thank you.